Power gaming, but power gaming, but power gaming, but look at my list, it's so elite. Power gaming, but power gaming, but what are you going to do? I'm so fucking awesome because of my list.
Hello there and welcome to FloridaMan40k. I am Jimmy Prescott. Here with me I have John, the Canadian Killer, Lennon.
It's accurate, actually.
Dan, Army of the Week Smith.
You know me.
And with us today, special guest Will, the Tau Pow Taylor.
Hi, everybody. And
also in the background, we have special guest 2, Dan, the 40 cuck Monsolf. Are you there? Dan Monsolf?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, he's just watching today. That's why he's the 40 cuck. You get that? All right. That's over now. How are you guys doing this week?
I don't know. Dan is always welcome to just drop in and say something, but his smooth, sultry voice, you might not even catch it.
That's terrifying, honestly.
Yep. I mean, I don't think you want to catch it. Dan's kind of like a disease. So we're going to keep that Eldar away from us.
That
shit's coronavirus from China. We're staying away from that.
The disease that gets deep inside you.
Oh, no.
All right, so anyway, we've detoured.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, been a pretty good week since the last time we have gotten together. I know there was a pretty exciting event in the midst and also a real big release that has affected several of us, which I know we're all excited about. Dan, do you have anything that you'd like to say about the last week?
Yeah, I'll just jump in and say I think I've gotten more practice games in the last week than I did in the last 3 months. And I lost every single one of them. It's been great.
Ooh.
And
now you can tell it's good practice.
Exactly. I hate winning practice games. You don't learn much from them.
Is that why you like to practice against me so often?
Ooh.
As often as I can. That's not true. Lennon literally like once a week. Hey, are we hanging out and actually practicing? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that next week. Next week comes up. I thought I said next week, Lennon.
So never happens.
Yeah, never. There's also like a small event that you went to, Lennon. It was kind of unimportant. I'm not really impressed by it, but if you want to talk about it, I guess we can.
Well, on the one hand, it was small. It was an RTT. On the other hand, it's a 130-person RTT. Kind of weird how that one works out. So I recently went to the Canhammer team tournament, which had 26 teams, which is exactly too short of being a GT status because ITC team format's kind of weird and I think they need to change it, but whatever. But yeah, 26 teams is 26 players, which means it's a very large 5-round RTT. I spoke about it a little bit last week, but I did indeed go up there with quite a few good friends of mine. Myself, Richard Siegler, Nick Nanavati, Andrew Gagno, and certainly, last but not least, Colin Sherman from Best in Faction. All rode up to Canada. We all had flights, and mine got canceled. Then the new one got delayed, and then that one got delayed. And I finally made it in, and we had a pretty good weekend. We ended up as second overall, but best in battle points. Unfortunately, we took a couple docks on the sportsmanship score, mostly self-inflicted because I turned in late in the army lists about 30 minutes late. And also, we ordered some jerseys that the shipment got delayed by a storm, the same storm that canceled my flights. And therefore, our jerseys did not arrive in time, so we lost some sportsmanship score on that. And we ended up in second place, but we had a pretty dominant performance on the tabletop. With that said, Canada's really fun and also really cold. I forgot that cold makes your lips chap. I didn't realize that was a thing because I live in Florida. So I went up there without any lip balm, and I came home, and now it hurts to eat salt.
And
it's not
if you
great.
know anything about Florida, all we do in Florida is eat salt.
Yeah, we're a salty crew down here, and salt is the main part of my diet. So I immediately came home and tried to eat Doritos for breakfast, and oh boy. Oh boy,
Isn't that what
that one hurt a little bit.
the Salt Life stickers on all the trucks is for? It's because we all eat salt down here.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Living that salt life.
I need to get that for my army cases. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, the Get a Salt Life sticker? Yeah, you should do that. That'd be kind of funny.
That's fitting.
No.
Yeah. So, but most importantly, from your trip to Canada, is the story you were telling us before we started recording about the donuts.
Oh, yes.
That's what the listeners want to hear. Let's be honest.
So a lot of Canadians come to U.S. tournaments because they're just better than Canadian ones, probably. So, you know, I have a lot of Canadian friends like Alex McDougall, Jim Vessel, and they all tell me I need Tim Hortons donuts. And I don't really know why, but I have to have Tim Hortons is really the only thing that they'll say. I think it's a cult. So fortunately, when I was kind of getting off the plane, getting there, I'm like, oh, look, at Tim Hortons. Like, that's kind of convenient. But, you know, I was trying to get to a connecting flight, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait. So I passed a couple Tim Hortons on the way to the next gate, and I kind of realized they have more Tim Hortons than we have McDonald's. So I'm in no particular hurry. So I somehow make it through the whole weekend without getting to a Tim Hortons, even though I truly did want a donut. And then in the airport on the way back, I see a Tim Hortons on the way to security. I decide to go through security first. Tim Hortons on the other side. Don't worry. Whatever. I'm going to go to my gate, find a Tim Hortons by my gate, finally get a Tim Hortons donut. Actually pretty good. Not as sugary as American donuts, but it kind of worked.
Yeah.
I had a chocolate because, you know, apple fritter is just the lowest form of donut. Honestly, not even food, for being honest here. They didn't have any Boston cream, which makes me sad, but, you know, we weren't in America, so it can't be perfect.
So I think part of it is Americans are fat, like fatter than any other country, and I think that might be why.
Oh, with the sugar thing?
Yeah, like just like okay, the sugary treat that everybody in Canada loves, and Lennon's first response is, it's not sweet enough, not enough sugar.
No, I didn't say it wasn't enough sugar. I said it was less. Less is more sometimes. Like, it was enough sugar that you knew it wasn't healthy. But it's not like they looked at it and said, you know, we could get more sugar on this if we tried. Like, we didn't coat the bottom half with chocolate glaze. You know.
Have you ever like looked at a food and you just think that is violently American? Because
I mean,
dude, loaded fries, man.
Loaded
until
fries.
you add gravy. Once you add gravy, it's back to being Canadian.
Yes. Great poutine. So yeah, the Great White North is very white. There's a lot of snow everywhere. I really liked it. I threw a snowball at Nick Nanavati. So, you know, check off something from the bucket list.
I'm sure there are a lot of people
very
in the 40K. A lot of people in the 40K community are probably super jealous of the sentence you just spoke.
I'm pretty jealous.
Threw a snowball at Nick Nanavati? Yeah.
Like there's like
You deserved
hundreds of nerds who are just like, oh, I wish that was me.
Assume that hundreds watch our show.
I didn't say watch our show. I'm saying if they knew that sentence existed, would wish it was them.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Then they should listen to the podcast.
It's true.
Yeah.
Obviously.
However big
Right.
Brookhammer is, like add 7 listeners, and that's our total listenership.
Yeah, I think that's about right, which still might take us over 100 somehow. Fucking Brookhammer. All right, so Canada was very fun. We did also play games there, for the record. I brought my super fun Ridge Runner list, and when I say mine, I mean it wasn't actually mine. I borrowed Ridge Runners from Alex McDougall, Tyranids from Colin Sherman. Didn't really bring any of my own models. I brought a Sanctus and an Alphys, so literally 2 character models, and that was pretty fun. I do actually own all the list. It was just not painted as pretty as it could be, and there were a lot of soft scores involved in the tournament, as evidenced by us not getting enough sports points and coming in second. But it was a absolutely fantastic time. Canadians are very friendly. You know, like we all know the joke about Canadians just being like, "Oh, oops, sorry, didn't mean to get my Magnus in the way of all your las cannons. Here, let me get him out of the way for you. You know, it's pretty much what happened. It's not entirely accurate. I was the one that took Magnus out of the way with the las cannons. But Canadians are very, very friendly. So I had an absolutely fantastic time. And I think I can say the same for all my team. Team tournaments are just super fun. Like, best way to play 40K. Hands down, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Why we always look forward to ATC every year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
ATC is the best.
True.
It is.
And also because team tournaments are pretty radical.
Yeah. So, to completely segue with no transition whatsoever,
Dance forte.
That is what I'm here for.
that's what we do. I don't know if we truly explained why we brought our guy Will onto the show today,
We did not.
and so I will do that now.
He's got a fine ass.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome. That's why I asked him onto the show. Why'd you guys want him here?
Okay.
That's actually it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. That's
I'll
the
See you
whole
guys later.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need a minute. Okay, Jimmy, you win.
Yeah.
So, we could have brought Richard Siegler on to tell you guys 5 to 6 commanders.
But I talked to Siegler's secretary. He's booked for podcasts straight through the month of May. Nothing we can do about it.
That's not where I was going with this, you asshats. It was actually going to be a compliment. And you ruined it.
Those are compliments.
So Siegler, if I had to guess, would tell you 5 to 6 commanders, 2 to 3 riptides, fill with shield drones, and be a robot, and that would be it. And he said that on like 12 other podcasts. So instead, Will, who I have been playing 40K with since 7th edition, will play and find literally the most jank, random, crazy stuff and make it work. I'm talking about this guy has taken piranhas to top tables of multiple events through additions, like, okay, just crap like that. So instead of talking about 5 to 6 commanders and a couple riptides, Will, do you want to just dive into your favorite jank combo and we'll go from there?
Absolutely. So, as Dan mentioned, I like to find what's unconventional and try to make it work. And this new edition or codex or supplement, whatever you call it, has reinvigorated my love for the Tau army. I gave them a break back in October to play Marines, much like a lot of other people did. And the amount of tools that this update has given us is just fantastic. So I'm going to go through my favorite of the jank, which is XV8 bodyguards. So XV8 bodyguards are, I do believe, 3 points more than a normal crisis suit. They have 1 extra attack, and they can take wounds for characters. You know, nothing too crazy, right? But there is a stratagem called Sworn Bodyguards that, in a perfect world, if you get them into close combat with an enemy and you have a character that's within 3 inches, for 1 CP, you can reroll your to hit rolls and your to wound rolls for that unit. Now, that by itself may not seem too great because, you know, you're hitting on 5s. You get 27, attacks, hitting on 5s, probably wounding on 3s because they're strength 5, rerolling. And you're normally taking ATS or advanced targeting systems on the suit, which does give them -1 in close combat because it modifies their close combat weapon. And that doesn't seem too wild, but when you take it in conjunction with Veteran Cadre, which for probably more than 1 command point, probably 2 command points you'll spend on this, you give that unit ballistic skill 3 and weapon skill 4. Now, all those 27 attacks are going to be hitting half the time with rerolls. So you net, I think, what is it, 60 something percent hits, and then you reroll your 2 wound rolls. So you can actually get pretty scary in close combat. And if you combine that with Furious Assault, which states for 1 command point after you have a jetpack unit that completes a charge for every enemy unit or that is within enemy model that's within 1 inch of that jetpack model. On a 3-up, it takes a mortal wound. So if you've got 9 guys, which you're probably never going to do, but if you have 9 guys and they charge something and you pop that, you can shred about 6 wounds off of whatever you've charged, and then you can get all those rerolls to hit and to wound in close combat, and you can really surprise an opponent just off of charging them with crisis suits. So that's one of my favorite things that you can do with this new book. Is it good? I don't know. Am I going to do it? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
So what I actually think, kind of the application for this is, like if you're taking a normal crisis bomb anyway that you're going to make into veterans and do everything, it doesn't hurt to pay the 3 points more per model, especially if you're doing like a 4 or 5 man squad. You can spare 15 points and get good enough in combat to where, you know, if you drop in and they've got a little straggling unit, you can charge it, tri-point it, and then kill it on their turn because you actually have enough stuff to kill it. So you're not even having to dump to shield drones because they're not shooting at you. Obviously, if you're fighting a melee army, that's not great. But into like Imperial Guard, we're going to probably see a little bit more into opposing Tau, stuff like that. It can actually be another layer of defense, and you can actually kill yourself out of combat instead of, like, I guess if you got fly, you can fall back and shoot anyway. But you can kill yourself out of combat, move, shoot, and then charge again and just keep it going. And then nobody really thinks about Tau melee, so they're not going to be screening the same way they're going to be protecting. So you might be able to pick up a character that they weren't expecting to lose, or just it adds an extra layer at a very inexpensive tax. You might never use it, but having another option is always good. So that's why I like it.
Exactly. Like the having that in your pocket just for, you know, a couple command points, you can really turn the game on its head. I mean, on average, if you charge like a Lehman Russ, you're going to do 6 mortal wounds to it. That's half the tank's health. You can kill it if it's just straggling around. So that's just one of the things that I really like. I'm actually going to be going very hard into the prototype weapon systems. This works very similar to the Tyranid bio-adaptations, where you modify a unit rather than a character. The only difference is that instead of trading a Warlord trait, you have to trade in the Tau Relic, or the what they're called, signature systems. So the most you can get is 3. You can get 1 off of trading your free relic. You can get 1 off of paying 1 command point for emergency dispensation, however you say it, for the extra signature system, or you can spend 3 command points and get your 3 relics that way. And some of these in here are just golden. They really help units that you don't see very often. Another one of my favorite jank combinations is if you really want to take 3 storm searches and give them the annihilation warheads, that is 36 mortal wounds guaranteed that you can shit out. Like that's wild. You can possibly kill the Iron Hands Leviathan with that, if I'm not mistaken, because it's not a 2 wound roll. There's no 2 wound roll at all. It's just you take 3 mortal wounds. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I would have to, I guess, defer to you, Lennon, because with the Iron Hands Leviathan, is it shooting attacks in the shooting phase, wounds in the shooting phase? Exactly, like how, because I know you can't half mortal wounds because each mortal wound is an independent wound dealt, but for the pass-off stratagem, Cogitated Martyrdom, do you know what the exact wording is on that for this interaction?
John is currently muted. John?
We can just keep going until he decides to come back in.
I think he just didn't know he was muted.
Damn
He
it.
probably did a whole bunch of great
Yeah,
content. It's gone forever.
That is quality. Yeah, no, the Leviathan, or the pass-off stratagem, Cogitated Martyrdom, it's for wounds that a model would lose, and just during the shooting phase. So it does not matter if it's from exploding vehicles, from whatever way you get wounds on me. If the Leviathan takes wounds, someone else is going to take it for him. So I wouldn't count on it killing the Leviathan. However, if you just put 36 mortal wounds onto some of the other units in the army, like that picks up 10 intercessors, and then you still have 3 storm surges worth of shooting to put at the rest of the army. So you can still do good things with that, even if the Leviathan is still, I don't know, literally impossible to kill.
Right on. Okay, so we can take this one step further. We can kind of take the jank and make it worthwhile. You can combine the Annihilation Warheads and the platform that it comes on, which is the Storm Surge, and give it a custom sept of, I want to say it's called Gifted Pilots. Gifted Pilots is one of the many custom septs, the tenets that you can take. And the way that one works is, if in your movement phase, a vehicle or monster model with this tenet does not move or moves half the distance of its move characteristic, then until the end of the turn, when you resolve attack with a ranged weapon, you can reroll 2 wound rolls of 1. And as we all know, Storm Surges like to sit still. So just getting reroll 1s to wound on that particular model is pretty nifty. And then I don't really know what else you would combine that tenet with, because there isn't any others that really help the Storm Surge. So I guess you would take something that would benefit whatever else you decide to take. But if you really want to go hog wild and play 3 Storm Surges and just auto delete a couple units, a couple hard to crack units, then that's the jank for you. Another one of my favorite things that I've kind of been looking at is the Gatling burst cannon prototype weapon. So what this weapon does is you can give it to a commander, XV8 crisis battlesuits, crisis bodyguards, or a ghost kill, although that one I highly doubt you'll ever give it to. But it replaces every single burst cannon that is in that unit, right? So if you take a unit of 9 crisis suits with 2 burst cannons and a ATS, and you give them this relic burst cannon, what it does is it doesn't change the range, the shots, the strength, or the AP or the damage, but for every unmodified hit roll of 6, you get an additional hit. So you can either combine that prototype weapon with the upgunned subtenet, which increases all armor penetration of burst cannons to 1. So now you have these burst cannons that are getting extra hits and are AP 2. So you're just basically heavy bolters in the Devastator Doctrine. Or you can go back to Farsight Enclaves and do the Veteran Cadre strat and give them the +1 to hit. And so Richard Martin actually did the math on this last night. If you go the Farsight Enclaves route and you give them the extra Ballista skill, so BS3, when they drop in, or if you start them on the table, and you either use Drop Zone Clear or Coordinated Assault, I want to say, is where is it? Yeah, Coordinated Engagement, which lets the XV8s count as having 5 marker lights on whatever they're shooting. You're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. You have 72 shots, and you get 84 hits. So 84 hits at strength 5, AP -1. You tack on command and control node, and now all of those hits are rerolling their 2 wound rolls. If you're in a meta that has a lot of hordes, this is the unit for you. It just deletes everything that's in front of it, and maybe even survives to do it a second time. So I really do enjoy that one. If you don't go Farsight Enclaves and you just do the upgunned version, 72 hits turns into, I want to say it was like 64 hits. So 72 shots turns into 64 hits, which is still pretty respectful, and it's AP -2. So that might be something you want to consider.
would that work on hazard suits as well? Just a unit of 3 hazard suits, because they're pretty cheap, and that's still 48 shots that they put out.
No.
Really wish it did, but yeah, this has already been covered by quite a few. Well, I guess Richard Siegler's interview where he went over the book. Upgunned does not affect the burst cannons on hazards because those are double burst cannons. They are not actual burst cannons, so it doesn't help, which is really sad.
That's
They're also not a unit that can benefit from the Gatling burst cannon. Yeah, I'm reading it now because I did not put that together. I thought it replaced one model's burst cannons, but no, I'm reading it right now. It is each burst cannon that models in this unit are equipped with. So, shit.
Yeah. So, this is why I was invited on, because I've literally been going over every single thing in the book, and that one really got me going. It's a cheap unit too, one of the cheapest you can run, other than crisis suits with a bunch of plasma rifles. But only one person I know will run that. So
can you target the bodyguards or just the regular crisis?
You can target bodyguards.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It's the bodyguards, the crisis suits, the commander, and the ghost kill. Yeah, you can give a ghost kill this if you want to. I really don't think it's worth it.
Do ghost kills still come in squads?
They don't. They only come with one. You see, if you could take them in squads, I would see the benefit, but you can only take them as one.
So it's 2 burst cannons, or I don't know what, 9 to 27. Your choice.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
you
either,
can do up to
okay.
27.
Yeah.
That's insane.
9 or 27.
So there's that. Yeah.
Oh, can I ask you about one? Are we ready to move to the next one, or did you have more to say on this specific?
No, I was good with that. I was about to go into the sniper jank.
Okay. I also really want to talk about the double missile broadsides, because
I think that's gonna. I don't think that's jank. I think that's actually gonna see play.
It's the.
But we can definitely go into it. I was
moving forward, but I still want to cover that because they're not tides and they're not commanders.
Shit, let's get into it now then. So what Dan is referring to is taking a big unit of broadsides and putting them in the custom set of stabilization systems, which when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon on a battlesuit with this tenet, that model does not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons, which basically gives the broadsides target lock. And then you also take hardened warheads, which is when resolving an attack made with a high yield missile pod, a missile pod, and a seeker missile and a smart missile, you increase the AP by 1. So you take advanced targeting systems on your 3 broadsides. Now their high yields are AP3 and their smart missiles are AP2, which makes them just as good as Thunderfire cannons with the Devastator Doctrine.
Yeah, that also ignore cover on the SMS.
So they're Imperial Fist Thunderfires.
Yeah. And the ignore heavy penalty removes the innate issue with broadsides, which is you either get velocity trackers or ATS. Now you're getting velocity trackers and ATS times 2. It's amazing how much.
Pretty fantastic.
And so it's a unit of 3 broadsides is about 100 more points than 3 Thunderfire cannons. With the same volume of ignore line of sight shooting as you average on Thunderfire cannons, you just also happen to add 24 strength 7 AP3 D3 damage shots on top of it.
It's the broadside's innate durability.
Yeah, and 44 shield drones to pass off too.
It can be
so that
good.
sounds like it just wins the shootout against almost everything.
Yeah, as long as you can draw a line of sight to something, you can definitely burn it down.
Ugh.
Yeah, the primary issue is 30 and 36 inch range. You get a move now, which helps that a ton. But if we can get to vetoing deployments and you don't get caught in hammer and anvil, pointy hammer and anvil, then it's, I think, an incredibly good build. But with random deployment, that the risk of drawing the Imperial Fist Hammer and Anvil, they backline and just shell you until you're out of drones. Then you finally get a shoot, and then they get to pick up the broadsides. Like, that's the scenario that keeps me from just loving this build.
So I think what you have to do is, in that scenario, I think you have to, well, I mean, really, if you just advance forward, you're going to get there in time, right? Like, you move 5 plus D6 and you shoot 36 on turn 1, and you pop your Montcalm, one of those two.
You
pop your Montcalm. You're looking at a 47-inch threat range from the front of your deployment zone on turn 1. I just think that you can't play it as like a backline gun line. I think you have to deploy it on the line with all the drones and run that bitch forward.
The Will style.
Yeah, I think that's how you play it. I mean, well, we remember earlier in last season, Manny Chima was dominating the UK scene for a solid month with 9 broadsides. And yeah, you can make all your jokes about the UK meta or their terrain situation, but also this is just strictly better than that. Like, hands down, no questions asked. This is just better than that.
Yeah, it's really tasty. If
it won multiple GTs earlier and it just got a huge buff, I'm not promising it's a GT or winning army because, Space Marines exist now and sometimes will go second, but that's a lot of firepower right there. And if those drones keep your broadsides alive for one good turn, that's really going to leave a mark.
One other thing that I like to do too is seeker missiles are really cheap. You buy 3 for 15 points, and you're basically firing Melsa shots.
Oh, do they become AP3?
They become AP4 with ATS.
Oh, that's nasty. Okay, that's not. Oof. Oh, they can take 3 each?
You can take 1 each, so you have a unit of 3. Yeah, so you've got 3.
Still, you're firing off 9 Meltaguns turn 1, and it's not hard to make them relatively accurate.
That's not hard at all.
Oh, that's nasty.
Cover, if that's what you're doing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Me and Dan actually tried that on Sunday. It was definitely nifty. I played into the Ridge Runners, and I did not know what they do, and so I did not respect the durability because I didn't realize I had 8 wounds plus, feel no pains, which is pretty nifty per body. So it did take me a little bit of time to chew through them, but I was able to remove them with the broadsides and commander help.
Yeah. And that was only 3 broadsides because you did still go commander heavy in that list. If you did 9 broadsides, I think that game is over in 2 turns.
Yeah, probably.
Probably that I had terrain.
It's true. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the sniper drones. So sniper drones got a little bit cheaper with chapter approved, and they were making a bit of a splash back in 2018. I know that both me and Richard Martin were running them. I can't remember if Siegler tried them on or not, but being able to hit knights on 2s rerolling and then wounding them on 4s with mortal wounds on 5s and 6s was pretty nifty. They have since fallen out of favor, but you could attempt what I'm going to pass up. So there is a stratagem called Deadly Aim. It's 2 command points, but it affects 1 unit of sniper drones during the shooting phase. The sniper drone unit gets -1 AP on their pulse rifles or long shot pulse rifles, and then if the target is within half range, you're getting an additional AP. So you can either get 9 shots at strength 5 AP1 with the mortals on 6s, or 18 shots at AP2 with mortals on 6s. Now, the reason why I'm really digging this is because you can combine it with another stratagem called Seasoned Sniper, which gives a firesight marksman's weapons the sniper rule. You can target characters. So if you really need to get rid of a key character in your opponent's army, you can just blow all of your command points. Now, I would suggest taking this in a Sasea Sept, maybe a Spearhead with a bunch of sniper drones. And you can start off the shooting phase using the, I can't remember what it's, the Airburst Marker Light strat for 2 command points. You pick a target, everybody within that target gets 1 marker light. So you can do that, and then pay 1 command point, give your character, your fire start marksman that's rerolling his to hit rolls, sniper, hit that character. So now you've got 2 command marker lights on it. You can then spend uplink marker for 1 command point for an extra D3. And so you'll have, on average, 4 marker lights on that guy. And you can then use the other new stratagem called aerial targeting that you pick a unit, it counts as having 1 extra marker light on it than it already has. So that puts you at 5. So now those sniper drones are hitting that unit on 2s if the fire start marksman can see it, and they're next to a drone controller, and they're rerolling 1s, and most characters are T4, so they're winning them on 3s, and you're getting your extra AP and your mortals. So just something to consider. If you really need a character dead, that's the way to do it. And then all the other sniper teams will be hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, and 1 extra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
so
regarding
it's
the
like-
wording,
Go ahead, Jim.
you'd said that the fire sight marksman's weapons can hit them. Sniper drones, they, of course, sniper in their name, they just get to hit characters automatically, and then that is used just to make sure you get that marker light from the fire sight marksman?
Correct, because the only way to get your sniper drones to hit on 2s would be if the character was closest so that all of your marker lights could hit that guy. But most characters aren't doing that. Most characters are hiding behind stuff. So being able to hit that guy and get at least guaranteed 3 marker lights on that dude with the potential for 5 is pretty big. And if the one unit is shredding him with -2 AP, you can use your other sniper drones to just start picking off other characters, because typically your fire start marksman is going to be able to see other characters on the field, and your drones are going to be near a guy with a drone controller. So you're still going to be hitting on 3s. If any of those characters were near your initial target for everything within 6 inches of that target gets a marker light, well, now you're hitting on 3s. And if you factor in the Sasea Sept Tenet, you're also rerolling 1 extra. So that can be pretty deadly.
Yeah, it's a lot of steps, but the Chaos and Grey Knight builds that you see pretty regularly, and the Grey Knight you're about to see, they rely on their characters abusing character rule and just dumping out mortal wounds. And this way, and they deny kills that way, because it's all characters are a hyper durable unit. So being able to just get into that and remove, like the possessed bomb, if you take out the master possession, that is like, it cuts their efficiencies in half. If you take out the character carrying warp time, stuff like that, Grey Knights, if you can, key characters, which I haven't dove deep enough into the book to know which character would be the most important, but like, getting the 2 AP when everything's in Terminator armor, you're putting onto their invulnerable saves. You might be dealing mortal wounds through that. Like you have a high enough volume of highly accurate sniper shots at that point that it's actually really useful into the current style of meta list.
Well, I got a question for you, Will.
What's that?
2 things. One, how much is a 1 unit of 9 sniper drones with 1 fire sight marksman?
Glad you asked. So a unit of 9 sniper drones is 144 points, and the marksman is 25. So for the low investment of 169 points, you too can get 18 sniper rifle shots into a character hitting on 2s, rolling 1s.
So to me, that sounds cheap enough that I'd be willing to throw that into a Tau list, acknowledging that some lists can and will blow up the sniper drones before they get to do much. But against Chaos, which obviously is a traditional bad Tau matchup, that just seems like it's going to completely change the dynamic of that game. 100%.
Yeah, and once again, this is a really cheap spearhead. If you're looking to abuse the Farsight Enclave's character rule, where you can get 1 extra commander per detachment, you can still net 5 commanders and just have a Sasea commander sitting in the back with 3 missile pods and a drone controller, and then all these sniper drones and 1 or 2 marksmen, maybe just 1, and then that's all. Like those guys can pass off to those sniper drones in a pinch too, if they're for whatever reason getting into a sniper battle, and then you have all the Farsight Enclave stuff doing Farsight Enclave stuff. So it's just something to consider.
And I have a second question. Isn't there one of the new signature weapon systems, prototype weapons? Isn't there one of those that works on sniper drones?
There isn't. A lot of people were reading the strats wrong, thinking that it modified their weapons. It does not. There's nothing in the prototype weapons that affects the sniper, the fire sight marksman, or the sniper drones, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's like pulse is in the name of the sniper rifle, right? But it's not like a pulse weapon like the other stuff. Was that the confusion or something similar, or am I making that up?
No, that was a confusion a long time ago for something completely different. But typically, the long shot pulse rifle is excluded from the extra shots from the Cadre Fireblade, and prior to that, you can get extra shots with the ethereal abilities way back in the day.
Gotcha. Okay. But still,
yeah, it's nifty.
It's because chaos is generally like, if it's not your worst matchup, it's top 3 worst matchups. Getting tech into that, and as a chaos player, every time I see a sniper on the table, like, it just ruins my day. So being able to tech into that and completely change your opponent's plan in what they thought was going to be like a pretty straightforward game, like making them make more decisions is always a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now it's going to lead me into my next favorite jank, which is a sniper rifle of a completely different scale. I love rail guns and I love rail rifles. I love railing things. I always have ever since I picked this army way back in my youth. And Magna rail rifles on the XV8 broadsides is one of my favorite things to be added in this new book. So that is another prototype weapon, and what it does is it replaces every single heavy rail rifle on a broadside with the Magna rail rifle. And the Magna rail rifle is essentially the exact same thing, heavy 2. It is 1 strength higher at strength 9. It is AP4 still, and it's damage D6. You still get the extra mortal wound on a 2-wound roll of 6 plus, but on your variable damage, a 1 or 2 is always 3 damage, which is something that the rail weapons in general have been lacking. So in a perfect world, you can get at least 24 wounds to a maximum of 46 wounds on a target. And we all know that the rail rifle broadside is a lot cheaper than the double missile broadside. So this would.
But okay.
Well,
I know that they're about 25 points cheaper, so you can save 75 points. Hey, look, that's 7 more shield drones. They basically just pay for themselves. One thing that I do like with this is combining it with the stabilization systems from previous, as well as the hardened warheads, because you're still toting around 24 Thunderfire shots.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And Lennon, you're a scrub for not knowing that rail rifle broadsides were cheaper than double missile broadsides.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah. You suck at this game.
So you can either do that, or you can go Sasea once again to make sure that those rail rifle shots do hit. Sasea is one of my favorite sets. It's a shame that it's not as good as some of the other ones, but if you were looking for once again, another cheap spearhead, you could actually just go with the broadsides with the rail rifles and, plink stuff from afar. So that's one that I like. And then there's another build that I'm really interested in. It uses a really obscure battlesuit. It's called the Yavara. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. But
I've never heard of that in my life. What a garbage suit.
It is pretty bad. It's over 400 points. I don't see too many people taking it very often. But if you do take it in a Borkan Sept army, you get an extra 6 inches, which makes its decent flamer, even a little bit better. You can flame stuff outside of deep strike. And then there's this pretty useless stratagem called modulated weaponry. For 1 command point, you don't roll for your random weapon values. You just get max shots. So it turns that flamer into an 18 shot, strength 6, AP -2, damage 3 gun, and its little shotgun also gets 9 shots at strength 10, AP -3, and damage 3, and you get an additional D3 mortal wounds on vehicles if you roll 6s to wound. I think that might see some play. Only time will tell.
Yeah. It's funny because that is like probably one of the best 1 CP stratagems in the game, in the context of what it can be used on in that Yavara. But Tau got so many good options that like it almost doesn't fit. it's hilarious because like Genestealer Cult, they get this really cool thing from their end of the book where like they turn their auto guns into Assault 2. And it's like, yeah, that does nothing for me. And then it's like, yeah, my Yavara can just dump out 27 freaking high strength multi-damage shots that also can do mortal wounds to vehicles. But, do I really need that? Because it's just ridiculous.
So Richard Martin actually did the math on this one too. And if you shoot it into a Leviathan that decided to pass off its wounds to intercessors, you kill 15 intercessors. And then you do 5 wounds to the Leviathan.
Whew.
So, yeah, something to consider.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, go ahead, Jim.
sorry, one thing with the strat, I know it said like when you overload a weapon or whenever you shoot with a weapon that has like a value or whatever, like a random value. Since he has 2 weapons that have the random value, that does affect both. You don't have to choose one of the weapons.
It does affect both guns,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And there's a little bit more caveats. It doesn't work on Titanic models. The weapon has to be heavy, but there are about 3, I guess 3, and then the stupid hammerhead models in the army that this will actually affect. So it'll affect ion cannon or ion accelerator, riptides. It'll affect the Yavara. It will also affect the Arvarna, which it gives them 18 shots at strength 6, AP -2, damage 3, and it is a 60-inch range gun, I do believe. If you give that Ravarna the subtenant for stabilization systems, he can move 8 inches every single turn and just blip, at stuff. I guess this would also affect the Tiger Shark and the Barracuda. You may see some Tiger Sharks come back into play with the ion cannons themselves. I don't know if that's going to be good, just because Imperial Fists do exist, and if you do go second, you're probably going to lose those flyers. But it is something to consider because that is 12 strength 8, AP -2, damage 3 shots that are coming out of the Tiger Shark. So it's a really good strat.
The Ravarna is another little fringe build that I like. And I think I saw it went like 4-1 to GT this past weekend, actually. Because
Really?
it's a toughness 8 battlesuit, and with these upgrades now, it can fire the maximum shots and still rock the 3-up invulnerables, right? With
It can do
long, and with the long range, like it can kind of sit back line and do like what the Taunar lists did. Obviously not as deadly, but also about half the cost with the 3-up invul. So it kind of does double duty of Taunar, and then also what Riptides were doing with the 3-up invul, shielding your characters. And we've talked about it before. You can get 5 characters, 4 Farsight Enclaves, and then 1 whatever sept you need to make the Ravarna. So like you just shell them from long distance, and then when they get close, deploy the commanders, and like that's another build that I don't know if it's going to ever get popular, but it's just another option that Tau has. And the biggest complaint with Tau was it was a mono build faction, and
Yeah,
now
it's like
not.
it won't be popular because there are too many options. It's crazy.
And that's what I like. Like that to me feels it's incredibly strong, but it feels like a more balanced book now because of these options. Like mono build is never fun, and fortunately, Tau shouldn't be mono build anymore.
Yeah,
So
no
here's
way.
a quick question.
Go ahead.
So
Yes.
one of the things with Tau recently has been their stratagems aren't that good, or you don't need to use them very often. So you kind of only have 1 battalion, if any. I know Siegler won plenty of events with no battalion, and now he kind of has one. Are we at a point where you're looking again at a double battalion or even triple battalion Tau list? They do have very good, cheap troops, honestly. Are we looking at a lot more command points being needed in Tau builds?
So maybe, I don't know. Siegler, we talked to him in our Tau dedicated chat, and he dropped a list on us right before this book came out because clearly he's in the know. And he's looking at running 6 commanders, a unit of 5 crisis suits with double cyclic ion blasters and ATS, 2 ghost keels, and then 3 units of breachers. And then I think there's like 44 drones in there. So he's getting the 10 command points. And if he is running that list like I think he will be, he's going to spend 2 for the veteran cadre on the crisis suits. That puts him at 8. And he's either giving both the ghost keels the prototype weapon of advanced EM scrambler to make sure deep strike armies don't get within 12 inches of his commanders, or he's giving the crisis suits, or maybe even 2 of his cold stars, the cross-linked stabilizer jets, which is when resolving attacks made with a ranged weapon by a model in this unit, you can reroll the hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. So you get the Farsight Enclaves Sept Tenet, but further than 6 inches out. So after you've done that, you're sitting at 7, maybe 6 command points, and you're only going to be spending those command points on a couple things throughout the game. The moment that the crisis suits come in, you're going to be spending at least 2 on drop zone clear or coordinated engagement. So that puts you at 4. You kill whatever you're aiming at. Your opponent shoots back. If you want to keep your crisis suits asset, you'll spend 2 command points on defense in numbers, which gives your crisis suits a 5-up feel no pain. So you can either pass the drones, or you can start trying to tank them yourself, and it just increases their durability. Once that's done, if you still have crisis suits on the table, you're going to pay for coordinated engagement a second time to make those crisis suits hit on 2s, rerolling 1s. And then you'll be out of command points. But by that point in time, you should have broken your opponent's back.
So the coordinated engagement, I'm sorry, that's the one where you get maximum marker drones, right?
Yeah, that's the one where you get maximum markers. So I'll read it out loud. You use the stratagem in your shooting phase. You select 1 XV8 crisis suit or XV8 bodyguard unit from your army, and select 1 enemy unit. Until the end of the phase, when resolving attacks made by the models in that unit, the unit that you selected is treated as having 5 marker lights on them.
Okay. So do you need to use that? Like, could you just deep strike with a couple marker light characters and drones? Or, like, to me, that feels like a late game stratagem where you use it at a point where your opponent has already killed all your marker lights, as I find tends to happen late game.
So, do you want to go? Or, yeah, go for it.
So, because I love writing Tau lists more than I like playing Tau lists. And the theory that I've kind of come up with, and I think is pretty popular right now in the chat, is you don't really need to, like, marker lights are a luxury cost because of the increased accuracy of crisis suits, the increased number of commanders. So instead of spending the points on the marker lights, you just spend 2 command points for this crisis suit drop to get the BS2 if you even need it, because sometimes BS3 rerolling 1s with Farsight is enough. So it's, and you're not bringing the crisis drop in until turn 3 most times anyway, if it's going according to plan. So unless you're putting the marker drones in the crisis unit for the drop for that purpose, the opportunity cost of 2 CP and saving 100 points on marker lights, really kind of adds up in your list. That gives you your 5th command point, a commander, not command point, because commanders are like 130 to 140. So in saving all the points on marker light characters, marker drones, putting marker lights in your breacher units, when it's all said and done, that just generates another commander, which is 3 more or 4 more high efficiency guns that carry you into late game. And Tau's entire purpose is winning that late game fight. So you're just getting better at what you already do well.
There's a couple other things you can do too. Like, John, if you're playing this list and you think that you need to save those command points for later, The army more or less has it built in. Farsight Enclave's got another passive to their Sept tenant, which is called Aggressive Footing. If you're shooting at something within 12 inches, it counts as having one more marker light than it would. So you always have one marker light on something. If you've got marker lights on your breacher teams, then you hit something 3 times and you're within 12 inches, hey, that's got 4 marker lights on it now. If you want to spend 1 command point and do the aerial targeting, now that unit's got 5 marker lights on it. And then boom, you nuke it. So there's ways in there to save the command points. I'm just thinking, off the rip, this is what you can do if you stick to this plan and be disciplined about it. You can go this way. I mean, when I played against Dan on Sunday and I ran a crisis drop, I ran into a situation where I could either give my crisis suits 5-up Feel No Pain or save the 2 command points for a late game, which I did. And I used 1 command point for Focus Fury, I think twice. And Focus Fury is a Farsight Enclave's stratagem that gives a character reroll to wound rolls. You just you basically give it CNC node, which is very silly.
Yeah, and that's another, to keep going on tangents, the amount of efficiency in the Tau army right now, because like you can drop in the crisis bomb, CNC node it with a backline character, and then you can also have an offensive character get reroll to wound. So you can have 2 units hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, and rerolling the wound roll. Like you get to a point of critical mass where you don't need that much because what you have is so freaking efficient. And then it's just a matter of keeping those assets alive.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing too, in regards to double battalion, you lose at least 12 drones if you go that route.
Yeah, and you give up 3 more easy kills to Thunderfire cannons. That's honestly the number one liability in my opinion. Like being conservative with 10 CP puts you in a better position a lot of times than being aggressive with 14 CP, because you give up more kills than you gain back in what those command points got you most of the time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing that I want to go over that I really like, that I'm not too sure if it's going to see too much play, but basically you can do a Ravarna Light and give one of your Riptides the Amplified Ion Accelerator. It replaces the Ion Accelerator that it already has, and the new version is just Heavy 6. Instead of rolling to see what you get, you just get your 6 shots. It's at Strength 8, AP -4, damage flat 3. And if you overcharge the gun, it is Heavy 6, Strength 9, AP 4, damage 3 plus D3. So you can spike and get just 6 damage on one of your shots. So something to consider.
I think the bigger thing than spiking is minimum 4 in a world where Centurions still exist.
True.
And that's another just powerful thing in the Tau book, and like why Repulsor Executioners are so good is the minimum 3 on the Executioner, and then a ton of little shots. You can emulate that and have shield drones. Minimum 3 or minimum 4, and then a bunch of shield drones protecting that.
Yeah. Also, you don't have to Nova Charge the gun. You can just Nova Charge the shield. So now you're still kicking out very efficient shots, and you've got a 3-up impulse save.
Exactly. So, yeah, honestly, there's so much content that we could keep digging into all the little stuff, but I think
done. I'm done. Yeah, that's all the jank I've got, man.
Okay, well then we hit it, and there's going to be more that surfaces, because again, there's so much good stuff, and I know you've been digging, and you're going to keep digging, so it's exciting. It's fun when Tau is good in the meta, with different builds. Like the most, I don't know, the Siegler build is incredibly good, and it's incredibly good because its style of play is just so consistent. But getting other builds and making it more interesting makes it more fun for the game in general. So I'm always a fan of that.
And it's got me really excited. Like, not to bash Siegler's list because it's fantastic, but it's incredibly boring to play, and I see red more often than not, and I have to play something aggressive. So aggressive play really fits my style, and I know for a fact I can build into something I'm super comfortable with, and I feel like I can really do better than I did last year for sure.
Yeah, and I guess I think that's what I was trying to say is you can play an aggressive Tau build without giving up the defense that makes Tau so good, and that's what I think is going to make it a lot more fun for both players involved. So
that's not going to make it more fun for both players, only one player. But yeah, keep going.
The one getting blasted might not be having as much fun as they used to against Tau.
Yeah, okay. I enjoy it, but I play Chaos good in Tau, so like it's fun for me because it's like, yes, come closer, let me smite more things. But I was going to see if you guys had anything else you wanted to say or ask Will, but I don't know if I want your Debbie Downer.
Nope, just snarky things.
Snark. So no, I'm excited to see a diversity of Tau, even if I despise all of it. I did get a little bored of the just machine-like efficiency with which I was constantly run over. So this will be fun, get something new to blast me.
New and exciting ways to get run over.
New and exciting ways to get run over. I am actually excited to see what people can come up with, because I know Will had a really good run in 7th edition with a lot of weird Tau stuff. So I'm excited to see him back in it. That's about it. That's all I have on Tau.
Yeah.
I am about to get super weird.
Okay. I'm all about it. We're here for you, buddy. Are there any? Let's see. I think we mentioned at the beginning of the episode upcoming events. Do you know what your next event is going to be, Will?
Yes, I'm doing Critical Hit, the RTT there on the 22nd, I want to say. So Critical Hit is in St. Pete. It's a super cool place. They really enjoy all of our presence, and I'm looking forward to my first RTT of the season with the new Tau Jank.
Gotta get those points. All right, I love it. I'll probably go to that one as well. I'll bring what I can with the Gene Stealer cult stuff from that Greater Good book. Maybe I'll bring some Assault 2 auto guns for you. Huh?
Looking forward to it. I mean, I think you still thrash me because the player skill difference is there, but maybe this new book puts me over the edge.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, and
all right. So let's see. Dan, are you going to be at that? Well, actually, we have a weekend before that, so let's just do a quick little preview of where we're going to be the next couple weekends.
Yeah, I'll jump right in because I feel like it, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm probably going to Coliseum of Comics, but I might go to the little RTT in Lakeland because I think that's where Jimmy wants to go. But I have since found out that we have a temporary ceasefire in Brohammer. No one is bringing the Broviathan list because mutually assured destruction. And so that makes it a lot more interesting. Like, I might want to go to an RTT with like 8 players in the top 100 of the 2019 season because I know I don't have to deal with that list that they all took to LVO. So it might actually be fun.
That's true. None of us are actually that good without the list. So yeah, you'd probably have a pretty easy time of it.
Yeah, no, I'm still going to get crushed, but at least it'll be in new and exciting ways.
That's all we can hope for.
Exactly. I will have my Leviathan sitting in the vehicle looking out menacingly at anyone who might think about breaking the rules.
So it's resin in Florida, so it might melt in there.
Well, it's February. We might be able to survive.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's only 85 degrees today.
Yeah. It'll just be in direct sunlight with no wind chill. It might, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Can the Leviathan survive the Florida sun? That's the next test.
If there's one thing that can beat it, that would be it.
Yep.
Yep.
Conjugated Martin that.
Events, Jimmy?
Well, as Dan had said, there are 2 events this weekend with potential attendance, and that would be Coliseum of Comics, Kissimmee, the good old cock, as we say. And then, Tabletop Glory in Lakeland is also doing a small event. I feel like that's more my weight class. So also much closer drive.
Okay. Well, I'll be at Coliseum of Comics, and then the weekend after, I am planning on going to Critical Hit as well. So hopefully, I'll catch up with some of you guys there.
Yeah, I'm planning on Critical Hit for sure, and honestly probably Coliseum. But the lack of driving, being able to go 15 minutes instead of an hour and 15 minutes, is really appealing.
Maybe I'll secretly show up to the Lakeland one just to ruin your day.
I mean,
Yeah.
it won't
You
ruin my
should totally
day.
do that.
That was the first conversation that Dan and I had. Where I was like, I want to go here, but you should go to Coliseum, and then so I can have some peace. But instead, he's trying to chase me around with a goddamn below eye. Then so I was a little worried.
I was gonna bring
Sounds like
Necron or 5 nights to the little event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Gene Stiller Cult was also in the greater good, theoretically. Not gonna lie, I don't think they got the same quantity of good rules that Tau got.
Yeah, there were
that isn't
two
to say that they
sections
got
of that
bad
book.
things.
So like the beginning was the greater good, and then there was a second part that was the not so good, and that's where the Gene Stealer Cult ended up.
But then there's the third section where Guard are back to being good, so it's a whole weird one where just not Gene Stealer Cult is really the answer here.
Yeah.
But no, Gene Stealer Cult did get some buffs. For better or worse, I think you take the same list as before, and it's just a little bit better now. So you're looking at, they have a 1 command point plus 1 to wound with the unit's heavy mining lasers. That's terrible on the Goliath, but it's great on Ridge Runners, because then you get 3 heavy mining lasers. That's something I would actually spend a command point on. You also have 1 command point, pick a Ridge Runner unit. All heavy stubbers get +1 to hit and wound. That actually makes the heavy stubbers pretty respectable. It's very easy at that point to get them hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with Hive Cult, and then maybe wounding on 2s or 3s against infantry, which are the main targets. So I'm actually a fan of a lot of that stuff. Custom cults, I'm not going to do a full review because we've already run a little long on the episode, so I'm just highlighting things I think of and say, hey, that's actually not shit. So it's the Ridge Runner stratagems. You're still going to take Ridge Runners, and they're still awesome, and I love them so much. If you want to go neophyte heavy with mining lasers, that's allowed again because Games Workshop decreased the price of the price of the neophyte by 50 points, which I think is revolutionary for a single troop model to go from 55 points to 5 points. It's a very nice discount. But you can, again, use custom cult traits for ignore the heavy penalty and reroll all hit rolls with heavy mining weapons, such as mining lasers. So Gene Stealer Cult can get a very, very efficient oops, all las cannons build. And as long as Marines are meta, that actually can be valuable. Because if you fire, I don't know what the averages are. I think if you fire like a solid 30-something las cannons a turn at intercessors, you will actually kill them. Like there's a line, 30-something intercessors is that, or 30-something las cannons will do it. So Gene Stealer Cult has some tricks. For better or worse, they are almost exclusively all shooting buffs, which is not my personal play style. I want to have some melee with my shooting, so I'm going to have to figure out something. I don't think Gene Stealer Cult got the same power level buff that Tau just received, but there is something to cook with at least. I think it's a little better than Blood of Baal. And they actually got some really good psychic powers. Four-Armed Emperor and Rusted Claw both got really good powers. And I think as long as you're taking that Hive Cult Ridge Runner detachment, you can very easily soup a random Magasin of the cult that you want. Because like the Rusted Claw, psychic power, basically you just cast Jinx on a vehicle. Except it works on everything, including Guard and Gene Stealer Cults and Tyranids and other cults. So I'm actually a big fan of that spell. So there is something for Gene Stealer Cult. It might take me a couple tournament test runs to uncover what that is.
Yeah, I the thing I really like the most is the +1 to hit and wound with the stubbers, because that's a good way to start the ballistic skill train with the Hive Cult stratagem of +1 to hit, and then Jackal Alpha's +1 to hit, if you bring another Jackaloffish, you can mark up a different target, and you can just kind of keep that consistent buff going. So like if you accidentally just kill your target too quickly and you have another unit of Ridge Runners doing nothing, like you can kind of work it in there and get a little more efficiency.
Unfortunately, you'll already have shot the las cannons by the time the stubbers have activated the buff, and you'd hope that the las cannons are doing damage themselves. But certainly, I think it's just good in general because honestly, some vehicles you just need a couple extra wounds on. Like if you pop this stratagem, for example, like Magnus, you hit him on 2s, you're rolling 1s, wound him on 4s. You're gonna average like 9 saves on Magnus. Like that's actually not bad damage right there. Like that's actually a point where Magnus is taking multiple wounds. Just stuff like that, Space Marines, other vehicles, sometimes just making someone roll dice is the best way to kill it.
Yeah. My thought with spreading the buff was like targeting your las cannons at Unit A and then targeting the stubbers at Unit B to activate that strat for your next unit to then get a buff into Unit B.
Oh, so
that could work.
I have a question regarding like turn and shooting and all that kind of stuff. So say I have 3 Ridge Runners shoot at 3 other Ridge Runners. I know a lot of the buff there rather is that you have 8 wounds on a Ridge Runner. So like a las cannon, it basically can soak like 2 or 3 of them reasonably, and it kind of wastes some of that damage. Can you start by saying like 1 las cannon and then it's stubbers, and then the next las cannon it's stubbers, or do you just have to be like all las cannons, all stubbers?
You can slow dice as much as you want because you technically resolve each weapon one at a time, which is like super slow and boring and inefficient. And bring a chest clock, otherwise it's going to look pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But technically, I think if you just predetermine the order, so if you want to call your shot and say I'm shooting 1 mining laser, then all the stubbers, then the other 2 mining lasers, I think you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like actually more efficient, but hey, give it a go.
Yeah. Well, if it's like 1 damage at a time instead of like chunking out D3s or D6s or whatever, then it can like chip off the last 2 so you don't like waste a 6 on 2 damage left or something.
But it's the only time I get to roll a 6.
It's true.
True. Wow. Nicely done, Jim.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I feel like we've gone long. I was going to talk about Grey Knights. We don't have the time because that's going to be about an hour in itself. And you know what? It's 10:30. I'm ready to call it.
Yep. I think we're about done for the night.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
And thank you very much, Will Taylor, for joining us. Hopefully we'll have you on again in the future and kind of hear how the Tau Jank has played out and how the meta has evolved. We'll see how it goes.
Well, absolutely. Ed. Thanks for having me. I would love to be back on and report on the jank.
Tell us all about it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and let us know what you thought of the episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.